Hello and welcome to another episode of Chestnut Checkers. I am Keith Riddle, as always, here with my co-host Jordan Tampien. And today our guest is Evan Moore with Real Frequency. Yeah, and you are a college consultant.
That's right. We are a college consulting company.
College consulting company.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thanks
Well, before we even dive into that, Spokane native?
No, I'm Connecticut native.
Oh, Connecticut native.
Yeah,
Okay.
East Coast. You don't find a lot of us out here on the in the PNW. My wife is a Spokane native. Yeah.
Sweet. How'd you end up in Spokane? From your wife, or?
Yes, we met in Southern California after my undergrad. East Coast, moved out west to sow my oats. I know Brennan and I were talking about that earlier. You know, find life, find
You
true
had to go
love.
get a California girl, man.
Yeah, I thought I was going to, and thankfully
You got a
didn't,
Spokane
because
girl in
got a
California.
Spokane girl. Yeah, she was down there doing kind of the same thing, right?
What is, like, do you miss the East Coast?
There are times where I do a very select pieces of the season. The fall is the best. The fall is the best. But I don't miss the people. I miss my family. So if they're hearing this, hello.
What do you think? What's the biggest difference between like
attitude and culture?
Yeah.
Quick story: when I met Jana, it was 6 months into our relationship. Still pretty new, still pretty like fresh, and is this going to be forever? I knew it was. I think jury was still.
We
out
always
for her.
say that now. Like we say that now about our wives. We're like, oh, I knew from the minute I met her, it was the one. Right? I'm gonna marry this girl.
The story sounds better.
It doesn't sound good if you're like, well, we're 6 months in. I really wasn't sure about her.
It's touch and go.
Still was on the fence. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Anyway, so sorry. It was love at first sight. You
it
were
was
about
love
it.
at first sight for me for sure. But she's still feeling it out, and I had gotten into Boston University for my graduate degree. And I thought, oh, well, everyone from the East Coast moves away, does their thing, and always moves back. So I figured that's what I would do. And 6 months in, I said, I got into Boston University. Is this a possibility that we kind of go for 2 years? And here we are, 6 months. Here I'm asking her to up.
And you're in California.
Yeah,
You're
San Diego, California.
Okay.
And
hard place to leave.
yeah. And she's like, let's go check it out. So I brought her back. We flew back. We did the whole thing where I grew up. We did Martha's Vineyard in Providence, Rhode Island, in Boston, and we went to a Sox game. And
I want to go to the East Coast with you.
let's go.
It's a fun tour. That's a good tour right there.
And it was like being like at home, and a little bit of the accent comes back a little bit. I start swearing more. And on the flight back, I said, "What do you think?" She says, "No."
Oh,
I said, "Why?" She said, "Well, everyone's an asshole." I said, this is true. And most of the people you met were my family, but
That's even better.
yeah.
You're like, we only met my grandma.
No, she was such a jerk.
Pretty judgmental.
No, and I said, but here's the deal: is that's how they love you.
Yeah,
That's how they
for
tell
sure.
you they love you. They really.
So true. So to that point, most of the money we use now actually comes from New York. So what I try to do is go meet them, because I'm like, you're lending a lot to my project. We'll go meet you. And you go out there, and they are so direct. And I think that's the other one. It's everyone's direct. And it's like you have this little bit of time, but you feel like on an island, even though there's millions of people. It was the weirdest feeling going around. I'm like, I don't know if I could live here. It's fun, super fun visit. But even now when I'm dealing with through the loan, it's just these quick calls, 15 minutes. It's not how was your day. It's not how are you doing. It was just like, hey, so payment due here. You're going to be good? Yeah. Oh, great. See you. Talk next Monday. I'm like,
get her done.
get her
move
done.
on,
And that's
right?
almost like the mentality is just this forced pace.
Yeah. And on the street too. She mentioned that. She's like, and she's not a vain person by any means, but she's like, man, we're walking down the street in Boston, and like not one dude like looked up and was like, hey, what's up? Right?
No eye contact.
Yeah, no, it's just like, oh,
You're just focused and you just go. Yeah,
right.
It's super interesting.
Yeah. And then after that, I thought, well, it's be you or her. And I obviously chose her, and I started looking at Spokane and Gonzaga for my graduate degree. And ultimately, that's what we did.
What'd you go to graduate school for?
Sport and athletic administration and education.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was on the teacher professor route.
Oh,
That was really my main focus. Halfway through graduate school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was kind of listless. I knew I needed to do something substantial. I knew I could make a change and difference. But a lot of my grad school buddies, they were either going into public service. They were working for professional sports teams in marketing or ticket sales, and I don't know. I just couldn't couldn't get a grasp on it. And Dr. Fry pulled me aside halfway through the program. I was like, hey, let's go to Jack and Dan's. For those of you who are listening that aren't in Spokane, I'm sure you've referenced Jack and Dan's several times on this podcast in the past.
You're in Spokane at this point, though?
Yes, I'm in Spokane at that point. I'm
Because I was like, is there another Jack and Dan's I don't know about?
No, definitely not.
I thought it was ours.
There's only one.
So he pulled me aside, and I was like, oh my God, am I in trouble? Dr. Fry, really cool guy. I really looked up to him. Taught in a very unique, special way that really grabbed my attention. And so we had beers, and he says, hey, what are you going to do? You got 1 year. You got to get a graduate assistantship. What are you thinking? I was like, Dr. Fry, I honestly have no idea. And he said, you need to teach. He's like, I see a leader in you. I see how you are in class. I see how you are with people. It's going to be your most direct way for success, persistence, enjoyment, fulfillment. And from that day forward, that's all I wanted to do.
How big was the age gap between you and the professor?
Yeah, as far as professors go, he's a pretty young guy.
Yeah.
I think at the time he's probably in his early 40s,
Okay.
right? So I'm in my 20s and twice my age, and he might as well have been 70. I just looked up to him and thought, geez, this guy's so cool.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. He's got,
I'm just trying to mentally. I'm like, is this like the old wise 80-year-old professor or something, or was this like the young? Yeah.
No,
Cool.
super cool, hip, chill, and it took an interest in me, which huge game changer. I mean, it changed my life. Right.
Because what was the path before that? Where you saw yourself going, or was it just didn't see going? And
didn't see going. I just knew, with my undergrad, I loved my undergrad. It was behavioral science, psychology, sociology, right? Yeah. That's what I love. Transferably, without a license, I wasn't going to be a psychiatrist. But what I found myself in was sales. Through the time between my undergrad and then graduate school, that's how I paid the bills. Sales. Relied on connections, communication, right? Engagement. That's what kept me alive and surviving. And I'd sell anything.
I was going to say, what were you selling?
Yeah, I mean, synthetic turf. I worked for Saks Avenue and did women's handbags because they're like, we need a young dude that can attract young people. And I sold exotic cars. Anything I could do that it's like, hey, stuff that's cool. I'm not into women's handbags, but it definitely paid well, right?
Oh, yeah.
Paid enough. And a buddy of mine's like, you'd be good at this. I'm like, there's no freaking way I'm going to go in there. And they're like, just give it a shot. Sure enough, I looked at my paycheck. I was like, yeah, I could do this for a little while.
Yeah, I can say I can
right.
Down.
Yeah.
So evolve the story to Real Frequency. How did you get...
Man, through Dr. Fry's conversation in my GA-ship, working for Gonzaga for a couple of years after, working in the student support services realm.
Right? Oh, okay.
Working with athletes that have come from all over the United States. Typically, they come with all their baggage, all their issues, their study skills or lack thereof. And so I would sit there in the athletic department with the athletes and work through, why are you here? What do you want to do? Right?
What do you want to do after sports?
Yeah, outside of basketball, outside of baseball, outside of crew, whoever I'm working with. And what I found is that the need for this support has to happen much, much, much sooner. Right? It was an inkling, right? At that point, I thought, I just want to teach. So I went off and as an adjunct for a local college here and then in Idaho for some time. And I really enjoyed it, really connected with students. And knew that I was making an impact on a one-to-one level. My dean Cassie Silvis, one of the greatest bosses I've ever had, saw something in me, probably not dissimilar to what Dr. Fry saw, and said, hey, you make an impact one-to-one in a classroom. I mean, you got 1 to 30 students. What if you ran a department? What if you came over to the administration side, right? The dark side. There's always this fission between, faculty
the hierarchy.
and the hierarchy and the thumb. And I was like, God, I don't think so. She's like, well, you get paid this. And I was like, okay. I think I could make a difference for the benefits. And
difference seems worth it.
Yeah. Janet certainly didn't complain either. So, I started really just going in. I'm a 100 miles an hour dead guy, right? I just do, if I'm in it, I'm in it. I don't want to deviate.
Did you say I'm a 100-mile-an-hour a
Or
day
dead.
guy? Or
Yeah,
dead.
100
Or
miles
dead.
an
That's
hour
what I
or
thought.
dead.
Oh, I thought you said 100-mile-an-hour a day guy.
Yeah.
Like you come in just lit on fire,
Fast.
because I kind of that. But then I thought maybe he said or dead. And then I was like, I'm a 100-mile-an-hour or dead guy.
That's
Got
a good
it.
one. That's tweetable.
Yeah. I mean, if
Did you write that down? I don't know if that's good life
100 miles
advice.
an hour. Yes. Well, it is. It's great in that once I'm attached to something, once I put my mind to it, it lends itself to my business and the success and being 8 years into it. I just don't give up. It also lends itself to some bad things, right? That's why I'm a sober guy, right? That's why alcohol is not in my life. It was 100 miles an hour towards alcohol, or not, right? Zero. I don't do in between very well. I don't live in that space very well. So another shout out to my wife for tolerating this behavior, right? Because it can go very well or it can go very badly. And luckily, I've made some good life choices and had some great support through it all to keep me on focusing this 100 miles an hour into positivity and grace and doing good for people. That's the G I have tattooed on my wrist.
That's cool.
That stands for good. Reminds you to do good.
Grace, and do it with a gangster mentality.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good grace gangster.
Yeah, never stop. Right.
I like that.
So I did that in the admissions side at the collegiate level, and we were growing our department. We were doing very well, as you know, within the college space. Bottom line and money is really important, right? And all eyes were kind of on our department because we were procuring some fiscal return of our efforts, and basically that was surrounding finding local high schools, engaging with instructors and accrediting them so they can offer dual credit courses and college courses, right?
Which is very popular now.
Very
right?
popular. Very popular, right? So Running Start here, dual credit in Montana and Idaho and Oregon. That's how they dub it. It's all the same thing. And this is when it was kind of just getting off the ground. So the majority of schools you see in the Pacific Northwest, especially Spokane and East and Idaho and Panhandle and some in Montana, are from me. And connecting them with colleges and accreditation and allowing students to dip their toe into college.
Yeah.
Can I do this? And by the way, they do it well. They get credit. It's one less class they have to take at the college level, right? Shortens their time if they do so choose. But it also proves...
it's crazy how quick they can get through college now, It's like my niece, I think, did 2 years.
You can do 2 years,
to get a 4-year degree, which is insane,
Right, because she probably did 2 years in high school.
Junior, senior in high school.
Yeah. Which, congratulations to her. That I know how difficult that is, getting your Associates of Applied Science or Arts before her high school diploma, which is what happened.
I should probably give her more props.
Yeah, you're like,
I need to call her after this.
Pat on
I'm
the
really
back at
proud of you. Your
graduation
uncle's
day.
very proud of you.
And of course we advise on that too. We get into some of the good and bad of that. But ultimately,
Because there's a drawback too, right? You're also missing some experience and some life in there, right? I mean, I think that's. I don't know if you want to dive down that rabbit hole of college, whether it's worth it or not. But I think some of outside of the money aspect, right? I think that's my biggest thing is I hate seeing kids, myself included, coming out and just so far in debt, right? Like having that debt load for a degree I didn't really utilize directly, right? But the experience is irreplaceable. Just that phase of life and learning and being around your peers and the camp. I mean, it's a cool experience. Now, is it worth $100,000 to have that experience? You
Everyone's
getting
got
that
their own priorities,
right?
Yeah. And we could talk about how we frame that. And, ultimately, it really does is what are you leveraging college for? Yeah. What are your priorities? Yeah. We boil it down to 4 different priorities: college life, academics, the finance of it. It's got to make sense fiscally, right? And then the environment. Yeah. And now when we can prioritize them,
go through them one more time. Sorry.
Sure. And I can cover them each individually. College life. So that's going to be club sports, that's going to be Greek life, that's going to be things that you're doing outside of class. Spend 30% of your time in class. 70% out of it. You better have some damn good things to do to engage you, to connect with your peers, because ultimately that's the biggest predictor of success, is when you engage, you feel comfortable, you feel confident. At first, it is a shit show, right? Most everybody has an experience of chaos, bewilderment. They're unsure of their path their freshman year, particularly that first 6 months. And that's when they're at the biggest risk. So middle to high income families transfer, withdraw, or drop out at a $750,000 rate every year.
Wow.
Jeez. It's a lot. That's middle to high income. Low income, almost unquantifiable.
Like in the sense that they do drop out, or they do?
Millions.
Oh, really?
Millions and millions. They don't have the infrastructure. They don't have the right focus, the right direction.
Do you feel like college is really still the next best step after high school? I mean, because sometimes that's part of it. You get launched from a very, very conditioned high school experience too.
Yeah.
You're on your own.
Sure. And I want to say college isn't for everybody. It's funny to say because we're a college consulting company. So without it, I don't know, we'd be doing something else for sure. But some form of education should be mandatory after high school.
Yeah. So you guys focus on the lifestyle.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And what are the other four?
That's the college life, and then the academics.
Okay.
Right.
Academics,
so that is
great.
important.
Yep.
When you talk about students getting a degree and not using it, it's $100,000. I didn't use I'm not using my behavioral science degree. Well, am I? Reframe it in that college life aspect, the connections you've made, the friends that you have, lifelong, longitudinally, the mistakes that you made that weren't life-ending or terribly life-altering in a sense. That does happen, unfortunately, but at a lower rate because you're in a safe place. You're in the right place. We call it best fit. To allow you to have those maturing moments. And the difference, and I'm sure within this industry, someone coming out of a college with a degree in commercial real estate or development, the difference between you getting them at 21, 22 years old and you maybe taking in an intern at 18 years old is vast. Yeah. Much different than if I'm 46 years old and you hire a 50-year-old, right? Yeah. Much different guy.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So that is the criticality of college and why it's such a great place to be able to explore and learn. And when I hear reports of families that are so disappointed and jaded because the private universities sent their kid to cost them an arm and a leg and they don't have a job. Yeah. And typically in those reports, the college is to blame. And that drives me nuts. Makes the hair on the back of my head stand up. Like, what the hell? If I had hair, I'm bald, but whatever. What were the students doing at the college level? How were they engaging? What clubs were they involved in? Were they connecting with their peers? Were they in the right place for them to feel ultrally comfortable with putting themselves out there and taking risks? And I would say that those that aren't able to monetize a degree or their experience didn't do that. But we never hear that.
Well, and I have a much more like direct approach for personal responsibility in the sense of like that. We talk about high school and we talk about college. I mean, that's the biggest difference between college is like they don't care if you show up to class. Nobody's going to come find you in your dorm room. No one's going to come knock your door down. You can skip them. You can not show up. You can half-ass. You can do. But I think that aha for a lot of parents with their kid, it's like, well, maybe your kid should own this a little bit. But it's easier, I think, if you're. I feel like they think probably more in like a customer mindset. Like I'm paying you. Mm-hmm. It's like this is not a waiter at a restaurant, right? Like they're not taking your order, and it's like, well, I'm sending you my kid and paying you. You should spit my kid back, fully developed, and it's like. Right. Maybe your kid should.
Where does that accountability start?
Right. There's definitely two parts, but I think as a university, I'm sure it's just so easy to get lost in the shuffle because they can't just run around tracking down every lost kid.
Well, and part of the experience is learning to show up, right? That's the other thing is, hey, nobody's there. Yeah, you have an alarm clock. You got to go. Because I did a lot of schooling. So I did the undergrad law school, MBA, and then a graduate overseas training program. And I go through because I'm always on the fence about it. Like, would I still be here had I not done it? Yeah. And I don't think you can actually ask that question. I think it's the wrong question. Yeah. But I do think that there is this point of trying to understand it. To your point, in those first 2 years. Like now, if I went back to do the MBA, it would all make sense to me. Mm-hmm. Now I understand what a COG is and what lean manufacturing would do to help a business. Like when I was sitting in that class, I was just studying a book and I'm like, all right, I know the test is going to have these 10 questions. And I was just a good test taker. And so now I'm like almost trying to figure out ways like I actually was a adjunct professor at WSU in the extension program. Kind of do it, but I would go down and watch like their composite labs. There, you can't get that kind of training. Right. Like so, there are these sectors that I think you have to have it. And then, but I went to Whitworth, which is liberal arts, and it was just one of those where I'm like, what did I actually get out of Whitworth? Like, and so those are the parts I think people are just asking the question because before Whitworth was 10, I think now it's 40 a year.
Yeah. Conceptually, right? They conceptualize a lot of things, and you're so young. You're expected to be able to put that into real life practice, but you don't have any experience to do that until it actually happens.
Do you see colleges changing a little bit of that? I mean, just as I'm watching programs, like we finally got, we're working, our brewery, Brick West is working with Whitworth to have a brewing program on site. So they actually literally brew beer. And I'm like, that's so much better than theoretically sitting and talking about how cool it would be to brew a beer. Yeah. Do you see a lot of them moving to like that experiential versus lecture only type approach?
Yes, and I don't want to get into the whole COVID thing because that's, obviously that subject's been beaten to death. But what COVID did was kind of pull the curtain back for parents and for those that are paying for college for their kid to see exactly what they're paying for. Yeah. Right.
How so?
Well, most of it was online. If they were allowed to be on campus, they were in dorms, right? So there was kind of like this looking glass that parents were able to kind of see and be like, oh, this we're still paying full board and this is what they're getting. It's not as substantive. And then what happens is that when things go back to normal, they're like, oh, that I feel like that engagement piece could have been better. What else could be better? So they start digging in and being like, where are the activities? How accessible are these programs for students, particularly those with neurodivergence or ADD, ADHD? Are they being leveraged? What is it going to be looking like from this point forward for my kiddo to make it easier on him at least, right? And for us to get our money worth. I think it was just more about scrutiny than anything. Yeah. So
why do you think it wasn't scrutinized before though?
It's just expected you go to college, expected this is the price, this is what they get.
I feel like everything got scrutinized during COVID.
Well, we all had time.
Including me.
You had time to sit there and you're like, okay, where are we spending our money? Oh, yeah, let's look at that bill.
It's a natural process, I think, to scrutinize when you remove things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like removal of something, I think sometimes is like you get used to, like you said, your phone or something. And it's like you don't even know how much you use it or rely on it until someone removes it. And then it's like, I don't know, like there's times I go in the backcountry and it's like I'll be gone for 14 days. And really it's like coming back out, it's like I don't touch it nearly as much. So it's like, but it's like, so then use was like a weird thing of like, I'm not using it other than like I'm using it to occupy time and space. That's what I'm using it for. Like I'm finding a reason to use it because I'm bored or because I'm waiting for somebody or in a lobby. But the utility of it was like, how often am I like calling somebody or texting somebody? It just brings that to light, I guess is what I'm saying. It's like the removal of it for me. Yeah. So I imagine during COVID, just like getting off campus or getting those instruction virtually.
Yeah, we're seeing that you're getting the same degree and you're taking a Zoom class.
Right. Paying the same amount.
Paying the same exact
student
amount.
Fees, that was a big thing.
That was a tough one.
It is, but it's hard to keep. You can't keep it that simple, right?
Right.
Because
you shouldn't keep it that simple.
You get a law degree this way. Someone gets a law degree this way. And you're like, well, this was easier, less time, blah blah. But it's like, but did you get the same experience? Yeah. Right. Like, is it really apples to apples? Like, because we're talking, like you said, the 5 fundamentals here. I think we're 2 in.
Four fundamentals. 4. We'll get down. We'll get finance and environment.
I don't know.
We'll watch the clock.
But it's you have to, because if it's just the academics and the grades, then it's just a very black and white conversation. Yeah, like this is my degree and this is my GPA and this. Yeah. As opposed to, like you said, all these other sort of aspects of it, you have to analyze.
That overall arching experience for them is what really the focus is on now, right? So you say that, you take everything away, now what are we actually getting and how engaged are students within those programs that are being offered? Yeah. So you're going to pay the same price whether they join a club or not, or whether they're in chess club or in band or playing a club sport. And it is accountability. It's self-efficacy for a student to go out there, put themselves out there and join those or not. And I think that many people look back and they're like, oh God, now we don't have any of it. We don't even have a choice. Okay, when you go back, like, let's try to leverage everything we possibly can to make our dollar go as far as we can. Yeah. Our narrative has always been from the start of this 8 years ago was that it is about the experience, it's about the people, it's about the culture.
So talk to me fairly tangibly about what you do, because
that's
just clarity. It's like, so you're a college consultant, so you basically work with, I would assume, families, and I'm spitballing here, so if I'm wrong, you just tell me. You work with families and kids before they go to college. You try to marry them with the right college for them?
Correct. Yeah. Okay. So ideally, we're one-to-one, so private company, for-profit, working privately with middle to high-income families that need assistance through this process. Just as if you had a very complex tax situation and you didn't want to handle it on your own, you'd probably hire a professional out there. You might be able to do it if you do the research and watch the YouTube and, spend your time, but is it worth it? And are you going to do it right? Yeah. We do it efficiently. We've got our finger on the pulse. Yeah.
And are you helping them with like applications? Or are you helping them with
So the start of it is getting to know them first and foremost. And there's a few assessments we do to pull and extract things out of them. The important stuff, right? Yeah. It's their top 5 strengths. It's like what direction, not necessarily destination, they want within their career, right? Yeah. And then what are they doing on a day-to-day basis that fulfills them outside of hanging out with their friends and stuff? Because we know that's going to be a big component of it. But is it sports? Are you being active? Are you crocheting? It doesn't matter what you're doing. We want to know as much as we can so we can start matching them up with some viable colleges that are going to provide.
So do you help them figure out what they want to do, like career-wise?
Career-wise, we're very directionally focused. Yeah, so if someone's like
general direction.
Yeah, and I want to be a neurosurgeon. We're like, oh, great, excellent. Okay, well, actually, we're going to step back. Yeah. We're looking at bioscience. We're looking at kind of the
precursors
the
to even
right. But chances are we're going to change our mind a couple times throughout it. And we don't want them to be pigeonholed. There's a small segment of our clientele that, they want to be doctors. Yeah. And that process has to start
pretty
sophomore
early,
year in high school, right? Because you have prerequisites, co-requisites. You have to build this resume, and very competitive out there, of course. That said, for the most part, everybody can get themselves pretty well set up within a direction. If they want to be a machinist or go into aeronautics, right? We can get them in the STEM realm. And that usually suffices.
How many of your, I call them clients, I don't know, kids, how many of them do you think already know, or how many of them do you have to like kind of coax it out of them?
Well, they think they know.
Yeah.
Well, there's a difference, right? I love it when I initially meet with a family and I ask them these 4 questions, right? College life, academics, finance, environment. Do we know where we are? Do we think we know where we are? And I was like, hey, I don't know is a perfectly great answer. Because we'll find out. We're going to get there. But if they do know and they're very set, we need to make sure how set they are. And it could be flippant. You never know what you're going to get until you meet with them longitudinally.
What would you say is the ideal time for you to start working with a kid or a family?
Junior year, right now.
Junior year of high school?
Yeah. Right now we're onboarding the majority of our juniors now.
Okay.
Yeah. Sophomore year, like, again, our ideal client, anywhere from 3.0 to 3.9 GPA, right? Middle to high income, those that are within their junior year. Now, anything outside of that depends on...
Right? What would you classify as middle to high income?
$150,000 and more a year, most likely. Our programs...
Household?
Yeah, household. Yeah. We make it pretty, affordable, easy to pay. But again, it's the biggest return is when we can provide... those families with the time saver, the clarity. Yeah. And then typically we see those students have access to a fair amount of colleges and schools.
Now, do you help them with the financial aspect of like how they're going to afford it?
Yeah, it's more of a tea leaf thing, right?
Yeah. So, a tea leaf thing?
Yeah. So like
spread them all out.
Just spread them all out at the end and see what we got, and let's try to read them. Yeah. The cost of college is so ambiguous. It's a crazy game, right? We want to make sure they're not paying any more than the next person, but everybody is very unique and different. Right? This game is not equal, right? It is fair though. And so if someone comes to you like, oh my gosh, my kid didn't get into UW and they got a 4.0, but this kid down the street got a 3.8 and they got in, and like, that's not fair. Like, you don't know the whole story. They are evaluating their applicants on many different levels, and they should.
Sure.
Right? They really should.
And so is that one advantage probably going with you is what they're evaluating, right? That's the professional where you can go in and you could get something that has a 3.8 instead of a 4.0.
Yeah. And
then do you kind of stay with them through that second year as like a resource for the kid? Or is it, hey, you got in?
Right.
Kind of your own graduation.
After applications and essays and supplementals, the FAFSA in October 1st in their senior year, really submitting everything, hopefully by Christmas for early deadlines. Then we starting to receive feedback, starting to understand, okay, where does this student lie within the lexicon of acceptances? We're very good at pinpointing these schools. Yeah. And it's less about getting them into the school they want, but actually having this school celebrate who they are because it is their best fit.
And setting them up for success.
Yeah. Yeah. And they start to come around. The best success we have with clients are those that engage with us very early, buy into our ethos, our mission, our values, our goals, which is exactly that. Safe, engaged, joy, happiness. We know that those things right there are going to produce the biggest ROI at the end of this experience. It's going to reduce the risk of them transferring. It's going to reduce the risk of them withdrawing or changing their major too late, right? That's going to tack on another year, which is also going to cost the family, the extra $15,000, $20,000, $40,000, depending on where they go. So it is a big thing to tackle. Do you both have kids?
I do.
How
I have
old?
one, 10.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You got some time.
12 and 4, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You guys got
I got
time.
plenty of
We'll
time.
be talking in, 4 years? Yeah, you and another, about 6 years.
Oh, yeah. Well, because I think it'd be super helpful. I was like looking at mine, I just thought I wanted to be a lawyer. And you're like, well, there was no test for that. There was no assessment. I just thought it made money. And then all of a sudden, you're like, there should have been like 500 more questions to ask. Right. You just don't even know what to ask. Yes. I think is the biggest one.
Well, and you don't know a lot of times what those professions even look like.
Correct.
Other than like your experience of like movies or TV or something weird, right?
Or mom and dad,
and I had
right? Should be a cocktail, right? Like, that was a great movie. Let's be a bartender for the rest of our life, right? That's probably not a great idea.
That's so true.
Not terrible.
Well, originally I went to like a trade school. Didn't know what I wanted to do.
Sure.
But I ended up at a 4-year university. But for me, I was like,
where'd you go? Where'd you go to trade school?
I originally went to trade school at a trade school in Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh,
called
really?
Universal Technical Institute.
Yeah, UTI.
UTI, not a great acronym, but you know, it was
a little cranberry juice.
Yeah.
Take care of it.
It was an automotive and diesel like technical school.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
So I grew up on a farm, but my dad had the wherewithal when we were kids of like, hey, and I think it was mom or dad did to him too, but he's like, hey, if you guys want to farm, he's like, that's cool, but he's like, you need to go out and spread your oats in the world and do stuff. But he's like, but you need to bring something back. So he's like, go learn finance so you can do your own books. Go learn about animals so you can do your own veterinary work. Like if you want to farm, that's fine, but you got to come back with like a skill. And I was always like a motorhead. Like I screwed around with motorcycles and 4-wheelers. And so I was like, well, I'll go learn how to wrench. Yeah. So when I come back, at least I can like work on my own stuff, right? Yeah. And not 100% sure I wanted to farm or anything like that. But all of this is dovetailing into got a degree, wrenched for a while, busted my arm in a snowboarding accident, totally serendipitously, had a cast on, couldn't mechanic, right? Yeah. And at the time, met a girl, and she was going to college. So she's like, well, you should, financial aid was everywhere at the time. She's like, well, you should get some financial aid money and just go back to school or figure out what you want to do. So I did that. Well, in my mind, I was like, if I can't work on motors and stuff, I want to know more about how they work, right? Like I want to do design work. So I originally slated to have a mechanical engineering degree. Awesome. But in my mind, I was going to be like designing automobiles for like Ford or like race cars from the ground up. And like, didn't probably realize till about your junior or senior year after you've taken like thermomechanics, vibrations analysis, is like, no, you're going to design the door handle.
Yes.
Right? You're going to design the electric seat function. Yeah. And it's so segmented. And so it was like this depressing moment. I was like, man, I don't want to, did some internships. You go sit in a cubicle and it's like, dude, this is boring. I hate this. This is lame, right? And so again, it was just that aha. Like I think even when kids say I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a doctor, it's like you don't even know. Like, do you want to be a doctor? You want to get blood on you? You want to get like other people's bodily fluid on you? You want to work in the ER? You don't. It's just like a concept thing. So I don't know how you bridge that for them with college, but I think that's one of the reasons why college has such a riff is like, they're confused. They don't know what they want to do. So they get some BS degrees that have nothing to do with what they end up doing. Or they actually get a degree that they wanted, go into the industry and realize it's not what they thought it was.
No, I don't know what's worse.
Right. And so you really have this, the window gets very narrow to college being a success for somebody as to like, I went there, I paid money, I got exactly what I wanted, and I'm super happy. Right. In my career, my degree matches.
Well, and again, it's the mindset. It's switching the thinking to realizing that degree, whatever it says on it, whatever it's printed on from whatever institution you're receiving it from, isn't actually the end game there. Again, it's what it represents. It's the learning opportunities. It's the connections you've made. It's reaching out and connecting with professors and having a Dr. Fry in their life to help guide them down the road that ultimately is going to connect and click with them at the right time in their maturity when they start to figure this whole crazy thing out. The only way to do that is to get them early and make sure that they are in a place that they are going to be able to find that down the road. They don't know what's coming. They don't know what it looks like. Mom and dad don't know it's coming. How soon they forget what their experiences were like a lot, right?
It's almost like you wonder how you have to like relook at the whole thing because of just the evolution of how people are nowadays. Like I think that people grew up faster historically, right? Like you were expected to be a man or woman at like 15.
Totally.
You were in the army at 17 or 8. Like nowadays, kids, but people live a lot longer, right? So your life expectancy might have been 50, but you were expected to grow up by 15. Nowadays, people live to be 95 or 100, 80s. So it's like, well, who cares if it takes them until they're 25 to grow up? Because really, that's what I'm seeing. I think the experience for a lot of people is it's like this delayed adolescence, which a lot of people have a negative connotation to. But it's taking them longer to grow up, but they're smarter. Right? Like I feel like kids nowadays are super intelligent.
Very.
They have so much information available. But they're not hard. They're not adult. I don't know. I feel like there's a
till much later,
Right, till much later. So but our system isn't really designed for that.
Right.
It was like we'll spit them out by the time that they're 18 so they can go into the world. And I'm like, I don't know. Like now college is kind of an extension of that system. It's like it's the marination place, right?
Yes.
It's like it's the purgatory.
The proving grounds.
Whatever it is.
Like, get the edge, get poked and prodded. You're absolutely right. I mean, my parents started having kids when they were 21, and that's what you did. Yeah. I can't imagine. Like, that's what, 3 years away from my kid being 21? Like, no freaking way. Like, he's just barely an adult right now. He's just trying to figure it out, and I wouldn't want that for him either.
Well, and so college can be a great avenue for that, I think, obviously, is like a place for them to continue to figure out what they want to do, to continue to learn and have social activity. I think the only drawback that I see with it, is that it's expensive. It's a very expensive marinating place, and it's not attainable for a lot of people because of that, right? Like there's a humongous portion of the population. It's like, well, what do they do? Where are they going to go marinate when I just can't go to a university that costs me $40,000 a year? Or my parents can't afford it.
But the 40 is not the issue, right?
Right.
The issue is you're spending the 40 and coming out and making 20. Right. I think about like a couple of these real estate education ones where I lost a decent amount of money, and I look at that as education. Well, the idea with is now I go make double because of what I learned here, and I think that's the biggest thing I've seen is that the wages haven't kept up with the education. So education cost of it's rising so fast and so you're coming out, your ROI on it just went down to nothing. Whereas before you could pay 30 grand, come out and make 50. Now it's manageable. Now you're paying 200 to come out and make 60. And I think that's what makes it so hard is that it's training for this level of job that is really in flux right now. Because lawyers, you have to go, right? So there's certain sects you still have to go to college. But I think that's one of the biggest differences because I don't even know it's the cost. It's what you're getting. What are you getting for that? What's the ROI on it?
That's if you complete in 4 years and you persist all the way through without any crazy road bumps and have to pay extra or withdraw or transfer or fail, which is costly in and of itself. So that's with the assumption you found your best fit. Okay, let's go into real estate development. As far as I know, you don't need a college degree to be a realtor, right? Right. So it better be something that's going to provide back, because that is you probably get to real estate development many different avenues. I'm sure there are many out there that don't have college degrees at all and crush. But the idea is that, hey, I'm going to be in that best fit. I'm going to not just enjoy my time, it's going to be safe. I'm going to engage with my people. So when I get out, right, I'm going to start my own commercial real estate firm with my frat buddy or the guy I played basketball with. Yeah. Without that experience, you may and most likely would have never have gotten to that point.
Yeah. Right? And so I guess the counter to that would be then do clubs and groups and things like that pop up for people that just decide college isn't the fit, but you still need that social experience.
Yeah. We do, here's what we do for our clients that are still kind of like, oh, is it worth it? Am I ready? We can tell. Like, we can tell when it's 6 months out and they're ready to go. We're like, oh, our risk factor is pretty high still. Gap year.
Let's dive into a couple of those. Like, what is a risk? Like, that's what I'm trying to picture. Like, what are the kids that make it? You go the 4 years without any, and then the ones that you see, and what are kind of signs you're seeing early on?
Sure. No, great question. Our persistence rate at Real Frequency is one of the highest in the industry. It's just because we work with them so long, junior year all the way to August 31st after their graduating senior year. We get to know them really well. It's a personal connection, right? This is a personal business. And those that really leverage it and understand it are the ones that kind of block out all the excess noise from Instagram and Facebook and Reddit and all this stuff. Like, you should be coming here, you should be doing this. Really focus in and understand themselves. And if they have the ability to show up, we say show up, show out. Show up to your meeting without any type of guidance or prodding from an outside resource, which is usually mom and dad or us for that matter, which happens, and it's fine. We do it. I need prodding to show up to meetings sometimes. But ultimately, in the end, that they're pretty self-sufficient. That it's not hard to see. Yeah. We also understand that translates to finding best fit and then acceptance letters as well. So if you come to us and you're pretty apathetic about the process, or, man, I don't know if it's something I want to do, it's like the 100 miles an hour dead thing, right? That we can do all we can do. I mean, we are very, very, very good at what we do. We have some of the best people in the industry that work for me, that work their ass off to provide for these families. But if they're not reciprocal, then the result's not going to procure, and they're at a higher risk because they may find themselves in a school that just wasn't the right fit.
Yeah. So are you doing tests and stuff like that with them? Like, they showed up 3 times late. And so you're are you grading them yourself as you go along so that you can?
We don't grade. I like that though. Maybe we should start doing that.
It's an assessment.
Try to put a school term to it.
Yes. Yeah.
There's no right or wrong here.
But like things like that, because I feel like some of those would be good, like almost tests, like whether it was a homework assignment, like something that you had a 3 month, like some of those. I went to one college class, there was no grade. It was just one final report.
Did you pass?
Oh yeah, but but I didn't do anything for the first month of that class. Yeah, because I'm like, because I'm a procrastinator unless I have to, and so it was things like that, and I'm like, God, but that's not high school. I mean, that's just a different way of approach. Yeah. I wasn't sure if there's things like that you do to kind of get them ready, almost a make ready type thing.
We have accountability systems.
Yeah. Okay,
it's actually something we're working on right now, heading into our 8th year. We've made some big systemic changes the last 6 months. And so, my old partner, he branched off and he started his own business kind of within our own. And he wanted to pursue that. It was more to career. It's called Relaunch Advisors. Really great at it. And he helps people in career transition, military veterans being full-time. Yeah, typically cool. Navy SEALs and Marines, which is incredible to hear their stories. But they're going from, fighting terrorists one week to finding a desk job. And that is one of the most difficult transitions you can have. So we started offering that, being one of our core products, but it was confusing our marketing, it was confusing our situation. So he thought it would be best, and I did too, that he'd go and take it and make it his own. So in that, I brought on a VC, right? I brought an investor. And not an easy thing to do when you're a consulting agency. Usually VCs are like, where's the product? Yeah. Oh, it's people?
You're the product.
Yeah, right. Say, hold on. I'm like, we have systems, we have processes, we have software that we built. Not only that, he was a client of ours 3 years ago and saw amazing things and growth from his daughter.
Do you guys give the kids a behavioral assessment?
Yeah. So I was getting to that too, is like, we need to focus more on that service and communication on our side. So we can, the more we give out, the more we're going to get back. The more we get back, the better we can assess. We're really good at it now. I want to be the damn best at it in the nation. Like, that's my goal. It's one of my missions, right? And know what they're going to say before they say it. Right? So we do Gallup strengths. Right? That's one of our biggest ones. I don't know if you guys ever took top 5 strengths. It's great.
Strength finders,
On its, just having the assessment itself, very helpful. It's great, but it does need to be kind of worked with, right? We got to peel back the layers of that onion and really put it in terms that a student are going to understand and be able to use it. So that's one of the first things they do with us. Now, within that assessment, we do what's called a whiteboard, WHYTBOARD, not whiteboard, but whiteboard. And that is going to procure their strength purpose-driven narrative, right, which can be used in an essay. That's going to procure 5 top strengths, like this is how this strength pertains to me in a personal story, which also can be translated to supplemental essays.
Yeah. So, procure meaning hold it or help them develop that.
Help them develop it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of these students and families, for the matter, they go through this pretty simple assessment. And they're like, oh my God, they always did that thing. We couldn't put our finger on it, and we always told them. Now we've given them permission to put words to it, and them to be able to verbalize it. Yeah. That really comes in handy with the time saver for essays, supplementals, but also it's genuine.
Yeah.
Right? Our essays aren't written by AI. We don't pay someone to write them for our students. You'd be surprised how often that happens. It's written by the student, from the student. It's clear, it's direct, it's honest. And that in and of itself, by nature, we have a lot of connections with admissions officers at a lot of different schools, right? Again, only using it for good, not evil, right? I draw the line of, greasing someone's palm to like take another look at an application for a client. We're not doing anyone any favors, but they'll call us and they'll be like, that was incredible, their essay. We could tell it was written by the student, not a parent or somebody else, but it was it's different. And that's what actually moves the needle, moves them to the next step to figure out, is this student a good fit for us? And then the student can figure out if that college is a good fit.
Who reads all those essays?
Human beings. Yeah. I've done it. It's tiring.
It is exhausting.
I mean, you're talking thousands and thousands.
You were adjunct, you were admissions, you may have had a chance.
You had to read them too?
Just on
Scholarship applications I read, admissions letters, and after a while they all kind of blend in until someone's very unique.
Stands out.
Right.
Real quick, what's your organization look like? How many people, how many students do you typically take? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and we're in a reorg right now, so we have about 19 employees.
Okay.
We're nationwide, headquartered Spokane.
Okay.
Nice. So why not? Cheers. Right? Thank you very much. Office is downtown. And we're 100% virtual. My employees are in California, Phoenix, Denver, Tennessee, right? And they are full-time, and they work very hard every single day, usually from their home, or they have an office that they go to and they do their thing. But ultimately, it's me as the president. I've stepped away from consulting directly. This was about a year and a half ago. I'd been doing it for so long. I needed a change, right?
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. It's very fulfilling, but it's taxing. And not only that, I want to grow.
So then, how many students are you typically working with on like an annual basis or something?
I will tell you. I figured you'd ask me the number, and I know the number, but this is a better
100-ish, 200-ish. I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's in the 200s at this point. And only because we're restructuring. We don't want to stress the system too much as we're building our CRM, to be stronger and more intelligent. And I think you had Tom Simpson on here. I listened to that one.
What are you guys building your own CRM, or do you guys use
We use HubSpot.
Okay.
In that sense, it's been great. We have a great inside gal. She's phenomenal, and she
I've been
helps us
rocking
out.
Go High Level lately, and I really love that CRM, dude. I don't know.
Tested it out too. Really like
you?
it as well. Yeah. It could have been an easy transition, but we stuck with HubSpot just because of the integration, the service hub, the sales hub, the marketing hub. And
that's where I like my mechanical engineering background will come in to like nerd out in business.
Dude.
I'm like, what CRM are you using? Like, I go into that weird people are like, you
all important.
nerd, get out of here.
No, dude, you're right. You literally can write your own paycheck at this point, at least with me, because we are spending a lot of time and energy on that CRM, because not only do we want to make this seamless and the communication very consistent with our clients, but I also have to take it easy on my employees. Yeah. So each employee, what we call C3, college career consultant, they could take about 40 clients, right? After that, they're loaded. Most of them are loaded right now. So I'm hiring on 2 more college career consultants by September 1st. So they can have 40 clients.
Yeah.
In order to do that, things have to be locked and loaded, automated, sequenced, very easily read, and I need to be able to procure reports. I'm not like you, where I need it to be like Ding Dong Evan needs to see it in front of his face and have to be really, really obvious. Where are each one of these clients? How happy are they? What can we do to improve their experience with us?
So we kind of fast forwarded this story to talking about your business now, but like, how? So you were working at a college?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We
the
kind
dean
of glazed over that.
or some lady said she saw.
She did.
I feel like you have this rhythm of like people pulling you aside and be like, "We see something special in you." I never had that happen. No one ever like,
They kept brushing me off.
They were like, "Dude, why?"
He'll do his thing. He's out there.
God, yeah.
So how did you start it? How did you start the company? And what were the first couple years like? That's a good question.
That is a great question.
We skipped a part of these entrepreneurial conversations of like, shit, tell me
I got so excited about the education
tell me about
piece.
the shitty struggling years.
Right. and there's still shitty struggling years. And we always do that. We know that. That's a part of this business whole thing. It's what keeps me getting out of bed. Is it's a struggle sometimes, right? It's a challenge. Mm-hmm. So I was at the college level, and I just realized how difficult it was to make real change at a quick pace. Remember, I'm 100 miles an hour dead. I'm diagnosed ADD, ADHD. I treat it. I'm very cognizant of it. But what happens is that if things don't happen quick enough for me, then I tend to take things in my own hands. And the only way to do that safely and morally at the college level was leave and start my own private practice. Mm. And what I saw was those attrition rates, the transfer rate, the withdrawal rate, right, for the students that we had, middle to high income. Remember, $750,000. Below that threshold, it's millions. So those numbers can be pretty high. And it bothered me. We'd work with students, and all of a sudden they would disappear, and I didn't know where they went. I didn't know why they were there. They didn't know where they were going, and they were gone. I'm like, oh my God, lost opportunity, lost money. They may never go back. This may have been their only shot because they couldn't afford it otherwise.
Right.
What can we do as an organization with my department to help mitigate that? And that takes money, right?
Yep.
And there's always a need for money at the college level.
Do you think college is too expensive?
No, it doesn't have to be. At the onset, it looks very expensive.
Like, do you think colleges are making too much money? I guess is what
No.
You think that the cost that they're charging a kid is in alignment with what it takes to put that kid through that school and make a little bit of money, but they're not making like huge.
No,
there's no way.
No, they make their money.
Buildings are too expensive.
They really are, right? Building, cost of living, where they are. I mean, if you've ever been to Southern Methodist University, I was just touring it. It's amazing. It's like a resort, but they happen to be in the most expensive area within the greater Dallas-Fort Worth area and Texas as a whole. I mean, Mark Cuban's got a house 10 blocks from SMU. With that said, the majority of money they make is from endowment, right? From their alumni. And that's why you get pinged the moment you graduate from a college and be like, hey, will you donate? I'm like, I don't have any money. What am I going to donate?
Just graduated.
Yeah, I'm still paying off my student loan.
I've been pretty good about answering those calls from time to time with Gonzaga. I graduated from Gonzaga eventually. But there was like a year or two, I started going to some basketball games after, and it's like, I started hearing about how much other people have donated. And I'm like, oh, dude.
I guess I better do something.
I'm like, wait,
I'm glad they just print our name and not the amount. Like, I got my name in the book.
Minimum
it's the
standard.
little one.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a tiny one, but I'm like, there.
I don't know if they need my $20 anymore.
No.
Spend it wisely.
Yeah. And that's really their goal. Listen, schools and people have this kind of skewed vision about their focus and their mission and their goal is to get a student in and get them as long as possible so we can milk them for everything they're worth. On the contrary, we want to get a student in that's going to fit. They're not going to withdraw. They're not going to transfer. And they're going to succeed and persist in 4 years. What that does is helps their numbers, helps their funding. The federal government looks at them and like, oh, okay, you're legit. Oh, your success rate's 70%. Right?
I like this because it's like the 30,000-foot view here.
Yeah. And it's really easy to understand in the sense where they're like, oh, it's in our best interest to provide a good product to people. Right. And the ones that the people with the purse strings are the ones controlling that and pressuring them to do so. Yeah. They also know that the majority of students can't afford to pay full bore. So there's all types of programs and scholarships internally, institutionally, that can help defray that cost that you see on Google. Yeah.
That's one of the things I was going to ask you is, do you think that the help that you give these students actually kind of pays for what they pay you in like benefit of like what they're going to save or what they're going to,
Some of our biggest feedback at the end, I did hire a director of happiness. She's phenomenal.
Nice. Hold on, I want this role.
Yeah, dude, it's so great. I got
that job title? How would you ever say that to somebody with a straight face if they asked you what your job was?
She's on our website. Pull it up.
What do you do? I am the director of happiness. Smiling.
And yes, and if you met her, you'd be like, definitely director of happiness. You'd be like,
you can never have a bad day.
And what that stems from is getting like, what was your return on investment for us? Because you were going to go to college anyway. Now, what was the meaning of hiring us? We need to know that so we can obviously double down, and it helps our marketing efforts reach out to people and say, hey, like if this is a fear you have, we can solve it. One of the things because of the middle of the high income, it's less about money now, and it's more about how much time is it going to take me to provide application support, activity support, guiding my own kid through this process. Is it going to be stressful, or are we going to fight? Are the terms of our relationship going to remain consistent through it? Typically, within families, it's a stressful time. You're about to lose your kid, and they're freaked out because they're about to leave too, whether they want to admit it or not.
Or they're not doing it, and you're going to get stuck with them, right? Like I literally, my niece that I'm so proud of, but I remember when she was approaching that, my brother was like, he's like, dude, she's not doing any applications. She's not, like all, she was like frustrated. And he's a farmer, right? He's doing his thing. He's like, I don't, diving into YouTube or whatever, trying to figure out the college admissions on behalf of the kid who should be doing it on their own, but I imagine that just rampant.
And we just signed a client, prominent family in the Midwest. Dad's like, I just don't have time. Like I'm assuming he gets, let's break it down hourly, $500, $600, $700 an hour. He's going to spend 150, 200 hours with his daughter through junior year, all the way to the end to get this kiddo successfully launched to a place that is going to provide for her and that she's going to be happy with. And all along the way, he's not going to know what to say, what exactly to do, and may not do it to the best of his ability. It might get done. But he's like, man, I'd rather pay you guys $10,000 to take this off my hands. And I can enjoy the process. Oh, and I can be the cheerleader. And I'm not, did you get the essay done? Do you have a deadline? When is this going to be done? And then there's vision there. Yeah. That's one of the biggest returns we see when clients off board and they talk to Trinity, our director of happiness. Also, by the way, a prior client of ours. Which is great.
Seems like a good recruitment model.
Yeah, I love it. I was like the moment I hired. It's a good compliment. Yeah, it is, and it just fortifies. Like, oh, okay. She was very happy with what she got as a service. She went through the process of college, found her best fit, and then after, like, can I do this? Because it was incredible, and I was like, hell yes, you can. So there's that return on investment. Now the fiscal side. Difficult. It's also a very tricky game to play and things to say. There have been conversations in meetings when families sign with us where I'm like, hey, like the goal at the end of this is your kid to receive a scholarship that's $10,000 or more for our services that they wouldn't have received prior. Oh, yeah. Right? Great business sense. Model. No, phenomenal.
For sure. Pay for yourself type model. Yeah.
Exactly. Problem is there's a lot of unknowns right through this. Yeah. And truthfully, really depends on the engagement level of the student themselves. Yeah. Right? We can motivate the very difficult to motivate people, right? We're very good at it. But in the end, if their median income's too high, if the kid just, for some reason, the dominoes fell in that they didn't qualify for particular institutional funding, that they might have gotten or not gotten anyway, or it's impossible.
Sure.
Then typically I get a call back like, hey, you didn't pay us back. I was like, well, I said, that's our goal, right? Tough game to play.
Yeah.
I will say, on record, we see very, very good return with our clients in terms of institutional funding and grants and scholarships that wouldn't have been going to them otherwise because their income's too high.
Yeah.
We have families that are like, oh, I make too much money, I'm not even going to apply to FAFSA. We're like, no, you must. You have to. There are things that are going to open up as far as opportunities for your kiddo if you simply fill out the FAFSA. When you do that, okay, we understand, your ability to pay for college is pretty high, meaning you're not going to get any funding from the government, but like there are some other government programs that are like, oh, you have a female that wants to go into mechanical engineering. Yeah, there's government programs out there that would love to foster that, love to encourage that. Now she's available to have that scholarship based on merit and desire and direction, not income.
Yeah.
Have you guys looked at, I'm sure you have, but have you guys looked at an arrangement with the colleges where they pay you guys? To help find them students that are matched for their universities?
Yeah.
Kind of like a career finder.
Well, yeah, because really, if you're matching them right and those students stay and they get the benefit of them staying, and they're also good students that are set up appropriately for their academic, what you call it, pathway, and then they spit out, great alumni. I'm assuming there's a benefit to them.
Very much so.
Where they would be like, what is a good... As a university, I'm asking myself, what is the price tag I would put on a student that came here for 4 years, stayed here, graduated, and was happy?
Right.
And
And
probably got to be worth $10,000.
I will.
Oh yeah, and then
I would
was
assume.
successful after, right? That's what you
Absolutely.
really want.
That's what you
it's
really
less
want.
success in it. It's more go out and start Synergy Real Estate and get more than $20. Right? That's the goal.
Yeah, and
the goal.
donate
Over
and
time,
feed
I
the
was like,
beast.
at
That's a
some
lot of
point, I was
20
like, I've
then.
given him at least $150.
Yeah, exactly. So that's their goal,
This
right?
guy built a building.
So I'll even add to that, right? So
I think I was giving him like $1,000 or something. I don't remember.
there's the viability of having an applicant that's very right for them that will persist. We've done the vetting for them, almost like an application. Here's where the money saver is, truly affects the bottom line at the college, is they no longer now would theoretically need to pay for recruiters to travel,
Correct,
to go out to seminars, to go to schools and talk, and per diem and insurance, right? Like, there's so much more savings than just having a kid that's going to persist through this process too. They could literally change departments based on that model. Here's where it gets tricky. We're licensed by, overarching body at an association that protects our clients, protects us too. We're fully licensed and bonded. There are people out there that do this like just willy-nilly. I wouldn't suggest it. You can get yourself into some deep shit, right? Like, you piss off a family, you're going to be in court, right? So we're very careful what we do. The overarching body also requires us to not take money from colleges because
Who is this overarching body?
it's called HECA.
Oh,
and
okay.
then
Is it a government agency? Or is
no, it's its own independent auxiliary licensing. And believe me, I've looked at doing our own.
That's got to be national, right?
Yeah, it is
Because
national.
if you're in the
it is national, and it gives us some credibility, and it keeps us around for a long time, and it gives us some guidelines, right, to work from. You can get into some gray areas, like I said before. We just like, hey, I know you, you know me. Let's help this application along, right? What's it going to take, right? They don't want any of that.
Yeah.
And then it gets a little messy. Then they're doing a Netflix.
the East Coast
original
came
one.
out right there, like that East
Oh,
Coast.
yeah.
What are we doing here?
Sorry. I thought I got rid of it. I've
Hey,
been gone for
listen,
so long.
Saul. It's Evan. I got one for you.
Also why I quit drinking, because when I do it, it would just like pour out of me.
That's funny.
But
yeah, because you'd have to have every college adopt it, right?
you would
Otherwise,
want-
then you'd have half the
I don't know.
colleges
They
that
could
don't
be
pay you, half
clients,
that
too.
pay you.
Well, they could pay you on I don't know. Hire me to figure that out.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna go sell Evan's product to universities.
There's an ethical issue there that I think
Yeah.
that they could see it could quickly spiral into, where colleges are paying us for elite, right? Like viable candidates for them to come and be vetted and go through. Well, then I'm like highest bidder for this awesome kid. We have a couple kiddos going to Notre Dame this year.
But they already
rock
do
and
that.
roll.
They already do this.
They just do it in the form of grants or
they do it in the
right?
form of athletics.
Oh, yeah.
If a kid's good
They
at football,
do.
they all go find that kid or whatever.
do.
So why would they do it? I don't know.
So it's, families paying us, and then I am encouraged by a private university in the Midwest
To match
really
them.
say, hey, this is actually your best fit, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I don't want to go to Indiana. I want to be in Southern California. And they're like, no, this is why it's good.
Yeah,
we
because
can
then
manipulate.
Well, like NIL, they keep bumping it up. One
Right.
place is 5, but we'll give you 15.
Yeah, you'd almost have to do it, I guess,
that would
maybe.
be the regular. It's almost like dual agency.
My thought was long term going down the route of like almost flipping the model to where the universities or the colleges were paying you to help them place good candidates, and you would either no longer charge the students or it would open it up to like everybody, right? Like imagine going into a public high school and saying this is a free service that we offer you to match you with the right universities, but the universities would be paying for that.
They do. And there's Score, there's
Yeah.
Common App, there's other apps like this that schools have access to or colleges do. And you'll see it when your kiddos actually go in and register for these programs, usually freshman, sophomore year. All of a sudden you'll be starting to get like mailers. And you're like, how did they know? Well, they pull it from that data.
Yeah.
They sell your data to these schools so they can.
Well,
say,
you were talking
okay,
about kids ignoring the Reddit or the Instagram or whatever, and I thought about right when you said that, I was like, oh, like we've talked about this. Like your feed doesn't look like my feed, right? It's all target marketing. I'm like, well, I'm obviously not a college age person, so I'm sure I don't see it, but like they probably hammer these 16, 15, 17-year-old kids with like ads on their socials and this and that. I didn't even think about that till you said that, and I'm like, huh.
We are there to cut through the noise, not just for kiddos, but for parents too.
Yeah.
We get calls all the time. They're like, I saw on Facebook and Reddit that my kid should be at this point in the process. And we're like, no, your kid's at this point in the process because that's where they are. Yeah. That's where they need to be. And you're paying us to be sure that they are in the right place. Because if they were in that part of the process, it'd be way in over their head right now. Yeah. We wouldn't be having this conversation. And so, yes, we do a lot of shielding of, I know, your friends at the cocktail party were talking about this, and it's not pertaining to you. Remember, this isn't equal. It is fair.
So it seems like you have these universities that are getting all these applicants, more than they can take, but yet they're also out recruiting to solicit. I mean, I would imagine there's some universities that maybe don't have to do that, or they just do that anyway. I mean, if you're Harvard or Princeton, are you recruiting? Or
yes,
you
they
are?
do. There are schools out there that have obviously far more applications than they have spaces to accept. Like that happens quite often. But the majority of colleges and universities, many of which you never have heard of, smaller, D2, D3 NAIA schools in the South, or schools that are very reputable, that we research and find and bring to light, are clamoring to get applicants, because the juggernaut big schools, the Big Ten, in the SEC or even the WCC, they've got marketing dollars to put themselves in front of a student's feed so they can be prominent at the top of their list.
Yeah.
And that's just a cycle. It just keeps feeding itself. Now, when you become the third, fourth, fifth choice for these students, typically by then they've been accepted by 2, 3 other colleges, and they're going to choose those over you. Yeah. And that's where the danger is with smaller private institutions and state-funded institutions that just don't have the inertia, or a football team or a basketball team. I mean, look at Gonzaga. Like, they were on the dire straits before the Cinderella team, right?
The basketball team, and you're good.
And all those guys, right?
Yeah.
Well, it changed the landscape. That gave them a national presence, and all of a sudden, people started to throw money their way. And by the way, they got more academically rigorous through this process. I believe they used to take anyone that was breathing back in the 80s, right? Now I was worried.
I would like to think that when they
school.
took me, it was very selective.
He wasn't calling you out,
they were-
or he
Oh,
was.
no, yeah. That was
They
right
like pretty much
before
took
you.
anybody.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well,
But
so,
that was-
are you a GU
I
grad?
am.
You are.
Yeah.
You're a
I
GU
went to
grad.
graduate
Oh my
school.
gosh.
Yeah, let's go.
Bunch of
down.
zags
I love
here.
Zags. It was a great experience.
Oh, it's awesome.
So I heard Eastern's down, WSU's down enrollment. Do you see a consolidation of the the university industry into just kind of like the NIL is going to do to the sports to top colleges are the colleges and those are just full? Or do you see those small ones going away?
Gosh, well, that I do not know. And, you always hear these smaller schools that are on dire straits. They seem to always pull it out at the end, though. They're like, "Oh, we're going to lose our accreditation.
Yeah.
We're going to lose the property, whatever it may be." They seem to do okay. And again, there's some nuance there that I'm not really aware of. When it comes to the bigger schools that are fighting for the same amount of students and their type of student, I don't think they'd consolidate. But at the same time, it is a grab, and they are aggressive about it, which is also a good thing for paying for college because they'll be more aggressive with your funding and your scholarships, right?
Because I think of a lot like banks, right? They go acquire. Or I look at there's the up north in Wandermere. I don't know where you live in Spokane.
I'm South Hill, but yeah, I'm
so they have
familiar.
the Fred Meyer there with I believe this is right. Fred Meyer actually pays the rent for the Albertsons that hasn't been there for 10 years.
Wow.
To make sure nobody goes to Albertsons or nothing comes in, right? And I could see a point where those bigger schools continue to get more money, and then you just like force out the smaller ones. And you block them out of being able to even compete at a level like that. But I also look at the thing and I feel like that would actually probably be good for the industry because now you're putting more people at one place. So every class there is better. You're getting the best professors. You're getting like the ability to do all that. But maybe that's my own.
Yeah, that's absolutely an approach for sure. We want variety, right? We want diversity in the type of experience.
And so what? Yeah, speak to that a little more because that's what I was trying to think. I was trying to. First question would be that. The second one was which one leads that decision? Is it the financial? Is it what they want to do?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that. It's one of my favorites because my sociological and behavioral science
because I know Logan's going to pop up and be Harvard. I'll be like, nope, we're good. What about Whitworth?
Well, again, and I can dovetail this to finally when I just said I believe in the collegiate realm. I'm going to start my own business, and we're going to do this right and focus on the right things. And that's what we focus on is those priorities. If you really ask families in an initial consultation, right, what are the important things to you in this process? And they'll skip over like happiness and safety. That's just not within their mind. I'll say it, and they're like, "Oh, well, yeah, of course." I was like, "Okay, well, that's good. Let's just make sure that's there, right? Let's just make sure we're keeping that in
50% of the factors."
Right. You do want your kid to be happy and safe, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And then usually mom and dad have different priorities. They differ from each other. Maybe dad's more academically focused, and mom wants the financial piece to be a little bit more jiving with their personal lifestyle so they don't have to change. With the kid, you'll hear academics a lot. But ultimately, after working with them for some time, and it takes time, it's really the social aspect and the environment of it all.
Yeah,
right?
which makes sense.
Yeah.
But like I think about a normal kid without hiring you actually just goes and tours places. Then they find out what it costs, and then it's like, and they're like, "Well, we love Oregon," and then you get the out-of-state tuition. Well, and it's like, why didn't we know that before we went and toured these 15 schools? And I feel like it's a lot like that tends to lead the decision versus I think the practical elements of just cost and location.
That's where we come in.
Yeah.
Right? Because again, the cost is nebulous until we actually see the tea leaves, right? Remember those tea leaves, whereas, it's $60,000 out of state for University of Oregon. Oh, we have, the Western Graduate Exchange. We have these scholarships. Oh, it's actually the same cost as UW after all said and done. Okay, well, now that's taken care of. What is the actual aspect?
Yeah.
Clients, whether they admit it or not, with this day and age, always worried about the social aspect, always. So we've been doing this long enough in the industry.
And by clients, you mean the kids?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I always call kids clients and then parents, right? We're client focused. We want to do what's best for them. Parents can get in there and really muddle things up sometimes. But yeah, the client will, in the end, be like, yeah, I'm most worried about what my social life's going to look like. Who am I going to connect with? Oh, I got into these great universities and I realized I don't know anybody there. I'm like, you only don't know anybody for one day.
I'm not worried about whether like my math professor is going to be able to teach me the math I need to know, right? I'm worried
But
about whether my
parents
roommate's going to be a
think that's what they're
jerk
worried-
or
yeah,
whether
right.
you know, whether
exactly.
anybody's going to like me
But I
or if
have a
I'm going to
roommate,
get
yeah.
So that's another big predictor of success and happiness after all said and done is like, oh, you were able to vet out the fact that social construct was really integral in this decision for our kiddo. Thank you for introducing us to old clients we have that are at any number of institutions that they go to. We'll do that. We'll have them send them to a tour. Be like, by the way, after your tour, it's not over. You're going to dump your kid off at, Brian Smith's dorm, who was a client of ours, trusted, he's vetted. He's going to show your kid around the real deal.
Yeah.
That can either make
That's
or
pretty
break
cool.
a tour. It's awesome. It's awesome. And then they know somebody. And even if they know people and have, friends that go to these schools, we still connect them with our clients that they don't know because it's going to be a different perspective. And we want
For
to shed
sure.
that on them too. That's a big deciding factor within this process.
Do you have like a pre-curriculum before junior year, like things that you start thinking about as a freshman, sophomore, like things you give to kind of like groom kids to be ready by junior year?
Right. Activities.
Okay.
Activities. And volunteer, everyone's like, oh, we got to like save the whales and I have to have this amazing experience. And I've, picked up trash on the side of the street or went down to the homeless shelter and, handed out Thanksgiving dinners. No, it's what is going to perpetuate you and get you excited about giving back, right? Doing good, giving grace, doing it with the gangster mentality. You should be doing, we as a society have to do that so we can operate as a society. Yeah. Right? There's not enough of that, right? So doing that, you'll learn things, you'll be humbled, it'll give you perspective. And there are things that we can talk about now within your application 3 years later when it starts. So I would say that that's important just for human growth. So we do push that when we do get a freshman or a sophomore that comes to us.
Do you guys work with colleges and universities? Do you work with any sort of trade schools?
Yeah, we do. We'll do it all. Trade schools, typically it's very specific. We have some athletes that go to the junior college to play before they go on to a 4-year. Maybe it was their path or whatnot. But when it comes to trade schools, there is a segment of our population that so long as it's going to lead to a 4-year, we'll absolutely work through it because that's a process.
Yeah. Gotcha.
What we don't want to happen is you start on your 4-year track and then fall back into a trade school because it's not a fallback, it's a career, right? Trade schools are
Next thing you know, you're going to be a mechanic.
And I my next life, I'm going to be a mechanic. I'm a huge car guy. I'm always wrenching on my cars. And I was like, I should have done this for a living.
In your next life, you won't be allowed to touch them. And just be like autonomous. They're like, dude,
Try to fix the
there's
new
no
ones. There.
screws and bolts. There's
electrocuted as
AI
opposed
is going to
to,
fix this baby
blown
for
up,
you.
I guess. No.
Curiosity just keeps, I could have this conversation all day. What about the military? Does militaries compete with the universities? I mean, they're recruiting. Do you guys do any military placement at all?
No,
No,
we
they have
don't
their own recruiters?
Yeah, well, so in terms of military, we have clients that have gone to the academies.
ROTC
Right?
type stuff, yeah.
ROTC, or most likely it's going to be Naval Academy, Air Force Academy, right? That is, we've got a client going to the Coast Guard Academy in Providence, and it's incredibly difficult too. That is a big process. That is something that we've been able to kind of crack the code on, and not how to get them in, but to be sure that like, oh, this is a commitment. Like this is commitment beyond commitments. This is a commitment beyond most Americans making, by the way. And here you are, not just making a decision for 4 years, but it's going to be 8. And it could be lifelong. Obviously, there's some amazing stories that come out of the academies. And if you can get in, it's a pretty penny to save, which is don't have to pay anything. But also your next 2, 3, 4 years after are already prescribed. So that we do work with. When it comes to military, well, look at the numbers, right? Statistically, military, typically Army too, they recruit in some of the rural areas or low-income areas because it's low-hanging fruit. These kids don't know that they may have an option or choice to go 4-year and have government programs and financial aid, grants, and money that's forgiven that they don't have to pay back just based on their geographical location or their SES. So typically we'll find those students that join the armed forces as enlisted, and they don't become clients. I mean, we don't market to them anyway. Yeah. So, but I mean, God bless America, man. I love our military. I think it's a great option for people.
No, I just like pulled the
military.
wool out like over my eye, like like I feel like I'm like looking at all these graduating kids now, like all these universities and military, and people are just like, that's their
and credit cards,
clientele,
all the things.
Yeah.
Credit cards,
like,
microwaves, TVs.
You get hit with it all right away.
Yeah.
You become an adult.
Right.
Adulting. Everybody wants you to buy their stuff.
Yeah.
It's starting early.
All the students want to be adults until it's time to pull the trigger
So you have
and
to be.
actually be an adult. And they're like, oh, shit. I jumped into this.
Well,
And
that's
we're
like
there to prevent
digressing that conversation all the way back to kind of where we started is like, the running start programs or the finish early. That's the one thing that I'd say scares me about them is like, you kind of just are becoming an adult real fast,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
And
life, there's always time to become an adult.
that's just it. Like, all right, now you're in college for 2 years. Now you're out in the workforce as a 20-year-old. If you're really young, you can be out there at 19 years old. Like, holy crap. I don't know if you guys are going to hire a 19-year-old to do the work of maybe a 21, 22-year-old. I'm not sure. Maybe they're special in a way. But there is this.
It's hard to hire a 21 or 22-year-old in this world, in our world.
Our world, I don't
They
think
got a lot of
it's an
options. They got a lot of options, and you're looking probably for experience, right?
Well, and a network, right? So that's the one thing college does really well for you. I was like, because most of my clients when my first year of real estate were like friends from Whitworth or Gonzaga.
How old were you?
I know, good question.
My
last year of law school.
I was 24 when I got into real
so
estate.
25, 26.
And I felt like at 24 I was a baby.
Yeah.
Like in the industry, right?
Well,
you were
the average age was like
treated
55.
you get treated like a kid.
Yeah.
And I would say the bulk share of my friends at that point were either too strapped with student loan debt or weren't in a career path where they. So the bulk share of the clients I worked with early on were like investors.
Yeah. Because mine was 5 years after. That's about when everybody was getting their kind of first promotion.
And
kind of
the bar to entry for housing at that point was
super
a little
low. It was like
right?
$75,000 to get in. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the government was willing to give tax credits and $8,000 first time home buyer tax credit, zero down. Yeah.
So
It's just a different landscape. But.
No, and that's just it. It is that dual credit. It does perpetuate persistence and build confidence, which is important. But you can get yourself into trouble too. Yeah. We've had clients come to us their junior year and they've year and a half of college already done, and they're like, I'll only need to do 2 years of college. Oh, and by the way, I want to be a dentist.
Yeah.
And like, oh shit.
Wrong 2.5.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you have 3.5.
Yeah.
And that's before you go to dental school. Yeah. They're like, what? We weren't told that. I'm like, well, your high school counselor didn't know you wanted to be a dentist. Yeah. Did they ask? Well, yeah, but that's not really their job either. Yeah. Their job is to provide for you as a high school counselor, which, by the way, we support their positions, not supplant them.
Yeah.
Couldn't pay me enough to be a high school counselor. They do God's work, man. They're awesome. We work with a lot of them, but they're there to be sure you get through this crazy thing called high school, alive and on time, and get you through so they can provide for the next class. And they do it really well. And some of them connect with students more than others and provide assistance and their college consulting in ways. But they just can't get that deep like we can because we meet so consistently for so long and have our own processes. Yeah. And we're not bogged down by meetings and red tape and things we can say and can't because we're not state funded. We could say whatever the hell we want.
Yeah. So in the multifamily world, when there's a lot of units or let's say less demand, more supply, typically you'll see pricing go down or adjust to do that. Do you think college pricing will do that at a certain point, even if it's just a pendulum of
just
people
adjust
to meet them, or do you think it's just more scholarships? Is it more? Yeah, that's what I mean. Or instead of a continued rise, do you see it flattening at all, or is this just a
3 to 5% raise is pretty typical. I mean, and it's going to be. It doesn't always happen. That didn't happen 2 years ago, which was a shock to everybody. They're like, we didn't have this jump, but it does. It does kind of trend with inflation, right?
Okay.
And the market and where we are, and then the viability of their applicants as far as can they afford to pay for college, right? Yeah. If we send them the acceptance, and we're way far away from this family. Is it even worth sending them an acceptance letter? Many times they'll just decline them. Just say, no, you're rejected. Because you fit all our criteria, you're not going to pay. We're not going to send you an acceptance letter. Hold your spot. Wonder if you're going to come. We already know you're probably not going to be able to afford it. Or they're really enticed by a particular student or a client of ours, and they make it really enticing. They make it really hard to actually like, oh, we want to make this difficult decision. Come to SMU, which is $80,000 a year, right? But we'll make it worth your while.
Yeah.
Right?
Average price of college tuition now?
Oh man, state it's all over the place, because in
Ballpark.
state, after expenses and travel, you got to keep all that in consideration, right? I think on average we see 25 to 35,000 a year. Yeah. That's after
more affordable
moving
than I
and
would have
food. Thought. Well, yes, and that's of course supplemented with institutional funding and scholarships if you do it right.
And that's with room and board.
With room and board, yep,
about
absolutely.
35, yeah.
The game changes typically sophomore, junior year when kids like, I don't want to live in the dorm anymore. And then you're at the mercy of whatever your market holds for rent.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. If you're going to SFU in San Francisco, good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah, stay in the dorms. Right. If you're in Nebraska and right,
go get a house.
Right.
yeah, like get a couple buddies
Start
and
buying.
get a freaking mansion, right? For a 1-bedroom studio in USF. All of these things we have to consider. And again, we get clients that go down the road or they find us later on in this process. They're like, we thought we could handle it. It's just so much. I'm like, I know, a lot to consider. The stakes are high, and certainly want to be a guide through the process. So
nice.
Can I get my kid in at 12?
Prepping.
Can we just start
Super
now?
Prep.
Super prep. We've taken on 8th, 9th graders. Typically it's junior year is what we like. When we receive someone like that, it's always going to be, and I know you're joking, of course, so I appreciate that. But
No, I'm
we
serious.
do have
He's serious.
right now I'm sending him over. I wouldn't know what to do with him. But ultimately, we're ADD, ADHD. We've got a lot. I have it, so I built the company, and our processes tend to lend themselves well to kids with ADD, ADHD, just because they're like, this is cool as shit. Like our background, this is what I wear to work every day. I don't care who I'm meeting with. This is me. And I promised myself I would do that when I left the college. I'm like, I'm never putting a frickin' tie on again, unless I'm at a wedding or a funeral. And if they don't like this, they don't like the tattoos. Well, I'm well educated, really good at what I do. If you're going to judge me based on my appearance, then probably shouldn't be working together.
Yeah.
But what it does is allows us to connect with clients because they see this as like, oh,
Safe.
It's disarming. Oh yeah,
totally.
it's super. Yeah.
It's like, I was expecting to see a gal named Judith with a pencil in her hair and glasses and gray, and like a college counselor. Yeah. Well, we do it different. And that's the other thing that the parents.
For our
really
listeners that aren't on YouTube and can't see Evan, he looks like a gangster.
Good, but only a gangster that does good and gives grace. Right?
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Well, Evan, we
you.
could have this conversation all day, man.
Yeah, man. I know.
I would
so
love
much.
to have you back,
Thanks.
and I would also love to talk with your. You said potential old business partner, but that kind of does all this transitional stuff.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
he'd be a great interview as well because I love this kind of concept. You guys are just helping people go from one place to the next by like working with them
100%.
and their behavior and their personality and all that kind of stuff.
100%. Yeah.
Anyways, love the interview. Love to have you back, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
So,
Appreciate
Super
it.
interesting.
Thank you both too, and thanks to Joy Wood for actually reaching out to me and tapping my shoulder. She's like, "You guys got to talk to these guys."
Yeah,
She's
absolutely.
the one that connected us.
Yeah.
Also
Did
a
you
client
work with
of
her
ours.
daughters? Oh, okay, cool.
Oh yeah.
there you go.
So she's like, "You have to talk to him. It's so great."
Yeah, well, she speaks very highly of you.
Oh,
And
good.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, where can people find you or connect with you if this is something that they want to do?
Yeah, realfrequency.com. Just go on there and book a meeting with me. I love that aspect of my job. Realfrequency.com. Top right-hand corner, let's meet, book a meeting. Whether you're interested or not, or just have some questions, it's my job. I just love talking to people. So
Awesome.
We're low pressure. If it works, it works. If not, hopefully you leave that meeting with, better prepared, well armed for what's coming your way. It's why I don't consult anymore, so I can do that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you
All right.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Man.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate it,
Brandon.
man.
All right, you guys. Thanks for listening to today's episode. While you're out there, would you please do us a favor and give us a like, subscribe, or a follow, whether you listen on Spotify, iTunes, or YouTube. We'd really appreciate it. Also, if you don't mind while you're there, give us a 5-star review. Maybe write a review. If you have a favorite episode, feel free to give it a like. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate it.